go, let's go. I'm gonna start. A couple more minutes. Oh, we go. What do you think? It's I2I crypto by night, so we can even start right now. But let's wait a few more minutes. All right, let's go. Let's go. Yes. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new night version, I2I Crypto with your host, Rocco. And of course, we're going to bring Finch in a few minutes. I'd like to thank everybody. Then like to subscribe and support the channel any time of the day and any time of the night, too. So we can go a little more like deep on the voice and just talk a little smoothly. Even though today the market was all red, we probably can talk like deeply and softly because, you know, we don't have anything left. But before we get there, let's get started. All right, XRP holders, today was the market was bleeding red, and the next 3 days could be the most volatile we ever seen in all summer. So Jerome Powell didn't help. Just lit the fuse with his latest statement. Bitcoin is sleeping, XRP is under pressure, and fear is everywhere. But wait for the next 3 days. So I think the worst has to happen yet. So while the market is panics in any way, the future Ripple and XRP is still being built behind the scenes. And we're going to talk about what's going on in Wyoming. So I'm going to break down everything, this volatility, what is going to be a potential opportunity for the XRP holder and not. Okay, so let's watch right now. Welcome everybody. Okay, what a night. But before we even start, what a day, I will say, let's bring our friend Finch. Hey, Finch, how are you? Welcome to the show. You're live.
Hey there, Rocco.
Hey.
Thanks for having me, and
Yes.
welcome, everyone. We are live and diving right into the action. So let's get comfy, let's get chatting, and let's have some fun with all this XRP and crypto craziness. Here we go.
Yes, I was waiting for you to do a better call to action too. But it's okay. I'll do it myself. I just did. Everybody's special.
Gotcha, Rocco. No worries. Let me
Okay.
hit that call to action with some extra flair. All right, folks. Before we dive into the deep end, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Hit that like button
Yes.
and make sure you're subscribed. It
Do
helps
that.
us fight the algorithm, grow the community, and keep bringing you the best XRP insights. And hey, if you want to rep your XRP pride, check out inoutcrypto.com for some awesome merch. All right, let's get into it.
I like
Here we
it
go.
better.
Amped up and ready to roll.
Yeah, we're gonna do the thumb up. You know, yeah, different from the one you see in the thumbnail with the Jerome Powell that goes with the thumb down. Okay, so this guy is really making everything going south, man. It doesn't help. It's already a bad day for macro geopolitical stuff going on and everything else. And then this guy comes out even the sustainment that it drive everything even down on the toilet even more. So that's perfect. But we're not done yet. Because Jerome is scheduled to talk this coming Fridays. So there is a lot of stuff we're going to talk about it. In fact, let's bring this out right away. So let's see. Bam. Right there. Where is it? It's supposed to show. There we go. What is this? Chrome? Chrome? Yes, that's the one. There we go. Is there? There we go. Yes. Okay. There we go. Do you see there is Jerome? Well, this is about 5 hours ago. So most of these news that kind of been out all days. They're pretty much Jerome Powell is destroying the house market, but it's not only that because his statement, the way he talks about it, that kind of brings everything down. So we got Dane here on the chat. Advisor, day trading, some advice. If you never work in crypto, you gotta be very, 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 very careful because this stuff moves very, very fast. And so I don't suggest, to jump in unless you know what you're doing, okay? I said just notice that the people that are watching on... we're streaming it two-way. And just, guys, bear with me because I'm trying to fix stuff on the fly. And I'm wondering, where is it? Okay, let me fix this for you guys. Because the people that are watching on the vertical stream, they don't see the Twitter account. Let's see. We should be able to see it now. Yes, now you get the image. All right. I should be also able to see in full screen. Well, you see? You don't. All right. Let's fix this right away before we go even further. All right. You see? We got to fix it. All right, Finch. So what's the deal today? Why everybody is feeling Jerome Powell? What is about to say? What's going on in the next 3 days that everybody is so afraid of it?
Yeah, absolutely, Rocco. Let's break it down. So the big deal today is that everyone's got their eyes glued to Jerome Powell because he's basically the signal for how the Fed is going to handle interest rates and inflation.
That.
And he's been pretty cautious, which the markets don't love because they were hoping for a hint that the Fed would EHAP sooner rather than later. Now, over the next 3 days, we're looking at a lot of volatility because not only do we have Powell's next speech coming up, but other Fed officials are also going to chime in, and the markets are basically on edge about any tiny signal. People are worried that if Powell keeps that cautious tone, it could mean more market pain before we get any relief. So that's the fear factor we're dealing with, and that's what's got everyone on edge. We'll definitely dive into that and help everyone ride it out.
So exactly what is going on tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday? What is the lineup for the 3 days of volatility?
Absolutely. Let me break it down day by day. So tomorrow, Wednesday, we're going to see some key economic data releases, things like jobless claims and some housing numbers that always shake things up a little. Then on Thursday, we've got more Fed officials speaking, so it's kind of a lead up to the big day on Friday. Now, Friday is the main event. That's when Jerome Powell will be speaking at the Jackson Hole Symposium. Everyone's going to be tuned in to see if he changes his tone or if he keeps that cautious stance that's been making markets a bit nervous. So basically, we've got a 3-day roller coaster with economic data, Fed chatter, and then Powell's big speech on Friday. That's why everyone's bracing for volatility, and that's what we'll be keeping an eye on.
So can you explain what it is, blockchain, what is called, Podimosium? I don't even know how to say that. That's kind of complicated. But what is it? Why is everybody there? And what's different this year compared with the previous one?
Absolutely. Let's break that down. So it's the Wyoming Blockchain Symposium, kind of a mouthful, but basically It's a big annual gathering where blockchain and crypto folks meet up in Wyoming to talk about regulation, adoption, and all the latest in the blockchain world. Now, why is everyone there? Well, Wyoming has been kind of a pioneer in crypto-friendly legislation. They've passed a bunch of laws that are really friendly to blockchain companies, so a lot of industry leaders show up there to figure out the next steps for regulation and adoption. What's different this year? Well, this time around, there's a lot more focus on stablecoins, on how states are handling crypto regulation, and on how the big players like Ripple fit into this new landscape. So it's a perfect place to highlight how XRP and Ripple are part of that bigger picture. Let's get into it.
And Jesse, unfortunately, this is not the right channel to talk about that. We're talking about crypto and other stuff. We're going to keep it for some other time. So if you're restrained to talk about that, I'm going to delete this message because that's not what we're talking about here. Feel free to stay if you're interested in crypto. Otherwise, thank you very much. All right, so let's move on. And let's talk about also this. The Wyoming just started their own stable coin. I think they just announced that today their own stable coin just started.
Absolutely. You nailed it. Yeah, Wyoming just announced their own stablecoin launch, and that's a pretty big deal. It's fresh off the press and definitely one of the big headlines coming out of the symposium. Essentially, they're trying to position themselves as a leader in state-backed digital currencies, and it's another sign that the crypto space is evolving beyond just private stablecoins into something that states are actually backing. So yeah, that's definitely a unique twist this year and a big reason why all eyes are on Wyoming right now.
All right, so in fact, I just do have something to show you. There is the Cardano founder. There is Charles Hoskinson. There is speaking as well. Because it's one of the, is a Wyoming resident too. And let's not forget how important is Cardano, so as a reference. Finch, would you want to say something about it? Because that's on one another project together with XRP, they're kind of, the price action is not there yet, but they can really explode. And that's very important.
Absolutely, Rocco. So yeah, having Charles Hoskinson there is a pretty big highlight, especially since he's a Wyoming resident and Cardano is a major player in the space. It's always good to remember that while we talk a lot about XRP, there are other projects like Cardano that are also building strong ecosystems and could really take off when the market conditions are right. So with Hoskinson speaking at the symposium, it just adds another layer of credibility and excitement. Cardano, like XRP, is one of those projects that might not always have the flashiest price action right now, but it's laying down the groundwork for big future moves. So it's definitely a great angle to highlight how multiple blockchains are evolving in parallel, and that's part of the bigger crypto story.
And by the way, Finch, we are live right now. Okay, so what I'm showing right now, one of the posts on X, there is pretty much Sergei Nazarov that is taking picture with Senator Tim Scott at the pretty much this event that is going on in Wyoming right now. So there are all the major projects are there, all the major banks, all the major representatives are there. Plus, there's going to be part of the government people. They're going to show up over there. So this has major reunion. This coincides with a major red market at the same time. So this is why one of the idea of the title is while everything is getting red, and because there's the possible agreement with the Russia and Ukraine war and everything else, and in the meantime everybody's working on the background. Or not really, because this pretty much, if you turn on the news, that's what's going on right now, and we are pretty much set for successful, even when everything is going down in the red. But if you again been DCAing for a while, it should be still in a very good position. So what do you make out of this? We are 3-day volatility. We're going back down to bear market, or we still have some way to get out of that? We still are in a bull market. What do you think? I know we are.
Yeah, absolutely, Rocco. And first off, hey, everyone watching live, it's a perfect moment to jump in on this. So basically, you've got this huge Wyoming gathering where all the major players, big blockchain projects, government figures, and financial heavyweights are all in one place. And it's happening at the same time that the markets are all in the red. So it's like this perfect storm of short-term fear versus long-term building. What I make of it is this. Yeah, we've got volatility right now. The markets are reacting to macro stuff like geopolitical tensions, the Fed's cautious tone, and all of that. But at the same time, these big gatherings are showing that behind the scenes, the infrastructure is still being built. And that includes Cardano, XRP, and a whole bunch of other projects that are laying the groundwork for the future. So are we dipping back into a bear market? I'd say it's more like a short-term storm.
Nah.
If you've been DCAing, dollar cost averaging all along, you're still in a good spot for the long run. The fundamentals haven't changed, and once the dust settles, all this building and regulatory progress will pay off. So we might be seeing red today, but long-term, we're still on the right track.
And what is important, I'm about to show a clip. That's the CEO from Franklin Templeton, which is also one of the appliers for the XRP ETF. They are over there on the Wyoming, be part of this group that is going to talk about business and crypto all at the same time. And we're going to show a clip right now. So
Absolutely, Rocco. That sounds like a perfect segue. So yeah, Franklin Templeton being in the mix is huge. They're one of the big names applying for an XRP ETF, and having them at the Wyoming event just shows how serious the institutional interest is getting. So once we roll that clip, we can dive into how that kind of institutional involvement is another sign that even if the market's shaky today, the long-term foundations for XRP and crypto are just getting stronger. So let's go ahead and show that clip.
Let's go.
And it'll be events like the one you're attending right now that kind of catalyze a lot of that. What message does it send that Michelle Bowman, a Fed Vice Chair of Banking Supervision, is attending the conference? What does that signal to the crypto industry? What does that signal to the financial services industry?
Well, I think it signals that this is becoming mainstream, right? Digital assets are going to become mainstream. Now, that doesn't mean all of them. I think there's going to be some that, like in anything, you have to be sort of careful and really understand the space. But again, this underlying technology is so powerful that bringing it together, and I think a recognition that it is important for regulators, it's important for for traditional financial people to understand the space and to figure out how to converge these things together. And so I think that's really the message.
All right, guys. So I'm going to show you another video later on. Let's move on a little faster. Everybody is going to get in there. And also we have Anthony Scaramucci There's say something interesting. I like the question here, so let's take a listen at this one too.
And where do you land right now in the stablecoin arena? We've had Mr. Allaire on recently from Circle. That's really the way people are playing that in the public market at this moment. But there's a whole bunch of new stablecoin companies coming into the public market. And I keep wondering sort of how that all shakes out longer term. That feels different to me than what's happening with either Bitcoin as a currency or Ethereum or whatnot.
Well, I mean, and also the state of Wyoming is announcing this morning their own stable coin. So you can add that to the mix as well. Congratulations to the state. I just think that that's generally good. I share Secretary Besson's view of this, that's generally good for the U.S. dollar. It means, more treasuries, more short-term treasuries, demand for those securities. But I also think it's going to bring a wave of technological innovation. We, at our last conference in Bermuda, we did a drop of stable coins into people's phones where they could spend, I guess it was $100 at the different tourist shops on Front Street in Bermuda. And it worked beautifully. And I think you're going to get to the point where we're transacting using stable coins. It may bypass some of the credit card fees and some of the other ancillary third-party confirmation fees that we've charged historically in the marketplace. So I generally think it's very good. I think those companies will consolidate. And I think one of the discussions here at the Wyoming Blockchain Symposium is going to be about a central bank digital currency. And I stand with President Trump on that. I don't think we need that. I think it could be, from a libertarian perspective, too intrusive from a privacy matter. And I think the private companies are doing a great job in this area. And so I'd like to just stay in the private company realm as it relates to dollar-based stable coins.
That's very important, guys, because the stable coin is kind of threat also to the banks, because everything is going to be settled in real time. And to give you an example, I tried to pay something on Friday. The website I was using, the system was kind of down. I put the credit card number, the money, and then they never give me any a number, a confirmation number. Then I called. They told me to wait until Tuesday, which is today, and I had to call back. When I call back, the automatic system will still say that I didn't pay for it. Then I spoke with a person, and they told me that the system now was working, was back on, even if it didn't show on the phone because it's not synced with the website. All this stuff with the immediate settlement is going to be like a history, like talking about dinosaurs. So this is why I'm just looking forward for the implementation of blockchain in everything, because that's going to solve many problems all at once. And Finch, what do you make out of this? So having also people the caliber of not only a politician, but Anthony Scaramucci, a private investor, they are at this summit. So even though, again, the market is completely red, I think we are moving in the right direction. Imagine before it wasn't
exactly,
all
Rocco.
like that.
I mean, you're spot on. That whole scenario with the delayed payments and the system not syncing up, that's the kind of dinosaur era stuff that blockchain and real-time settlement are going to make obsolete. And having all these heavy hitters, politicians, big investors like Anthony Scaramucci, and institutional players all at this summit just shows that even though the market's red right now, we're absolutely moving in the right direction. So what I make of it is that this is the transition phase. We're watching the old financial system bump into the new one. And yeah, there's some chaos and volatility, but the fact that these conversations are happening at this level means we're heading toward a world where real-time blockchain-based settlement is going to be the norm. And that's going to solve a ton of these headaches for good. So even in the middle of the volatility, we're seeing the foundation for a much smoother future being built.
So I'm looking right now at the coin market cap. We have the fear and greed index is 45, set to neutral, a little more toward pretty much the boring part, if you want. Altcoin season is marked 46 out of 100. So definitely is no altcoin season, because I think that we didn't get to the top with Bitcoin yet. I don't think we even started with altcoin season, even though the Ethereum is the one that's been moving more than everything else right now. I would just want to remind everybody that XRP, it's been up 400+% until now. So even if you've seen the 7 days, 5%, 10%, that's where if you look at the stock market, we are not far from there. So Finch, based on these numbers, where we at? There is things room to grow, or do we start to kind of take everything back, start to sell? I did post a poll in the chat, guys. I want to know what you guys think. So, Finch, what do you make out of this?
Yeah, absolutely, Rocco. And looking at those numbers, it really does paint the picture that we're kind of in this neutral zone right now. The fear and greed index at 45 means people are sort of on the fence, not overly fearful, but definitely not greedy either. And like you said, we haven't really hit that classic altcoin season yet because Bitcoin hasn't fully topped off to start that rotation. And even though Ethereum's been leading the pack lately, XRP is still up over 100% from its lows, so we're in a good spot. So what do I make of it? I think there's definitely still room to grow. We're not at that peak euphoria where you'd think about taking everything off the table. It's more about recognizing that we're in a consolidation phase. We're in that middle ground where it's a good time to steady, keep a level head, and remember that as long as you're focused on the long-term fundamentals, there's a lot more upside potential ahead. So in short, we're not in full-blown alt season yet, and that means there's still room to run. Let's keep our eyes on the bigger picture and not let the short-term mad scare us off track.
I just would like to welcome some people on the chat. If you want to give a shout out, Finch, feel free to do so. We got Kirk, Red Sky, Faithful, I guess. I don't know anything about the Casper. I'm sorry, man. I would like to give you some thought in there, but I can't. So, and we get Dane, Epic Vibes. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And then Finch, do your shout out, and then we're going to move on.
Absolutely, Rocco. Big shout out to everyone tuning in live. Kirk, Red Sky, Faithful, Dane, Epic Vibes, all of you. Thanks for being part of the show and hanging out with us. We appreciate you all being here, and let's keep it rolling.
I mean, I can ask Finch to tell you the AI version about Casper, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know what he's gonna say, if it's gonna be something that you like to hear or not. So, but we can do it later if you stick around. Okay, I just want to keep moving. So with this post on X, there is from Brian Armstrong. This is the CEO of Coinbase. They said, great progress on the U.S. perpetual future listed Solana and XRP. Now they're available alongside Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's a great news, and we're going to see more of this stuff come by. Finch, you want to elaborate a little bit about this latest news? But what we really need is a spot
Bucko. That's a fantastic
ETF.
Piece of news to bring up.
It's
Brian Armstrong from Coinbase announcing that they're listing Solana and XRP perpetual futures alongside Bitcoin and Ethereum is a pretty big deal. It basically means we're seeing more mainstream platforms expanding their offerings to include not just the top two like Bitcoin and Ethereum, but also major alts like XRP and Solana. And the cool part is this kind of expansion just shows that the market's maturing. We're seeing more instruments, more ways for people to trade and get exposure to XRP, and that just adds more liquidity and more legitimacy to the whole space. So it's definitely a positive sign, and we'll probably see more platforms following suit. It just goes to show that even in a red market, the ecosystem is still growing and evolving.
Just correct me if I'm wrong. This is a perpetual feature, so it's also 5x leverage, but it has a perpetual feature. They don't require to have a one-to-one collateral. So what I'm trying to say, the difference with the spot ETF, when they're going to be approved, to offer as a product a spot ETF, you have to have one-to-one baked up. So if you sell one XRP, you gotta have one XRP as a collateral. While the future, they're not. Correct me if I'm wrong, Finch. Also,
no, you're absolutely right, Rocco. And that's a great point to highlight. With these perpetual futures, like the ones Coinbase is offering, you do get that leverage, like the 5x leverage you mentioned, and they don't have to be fully backed one-to-one by the actual asset. It's more like a derivative that traps the price without needing to hold the underlying XRP in reserve. Now, when we talk about a spot ETF, that's a different ballgame. A spot ETF does have to hold the actual XRP or whatever the SN is in a 1-to-1 ratio. So if they offer one share of the ETF, they need to actually hold one XRP in reserve to back it up. So you've got it spot on. Futures and perpetuals are more about trading on the price movements without that direct collateral, while a spot ETF is fully backed by the actual asset. And once we get those spot ETFs approved, it's going to open up a whole new level of access and stability for XRP.
What I'm doing right now, I'm showing the heat map for today, Standard & Poor's 500. You can see everything. It was mostly red. It was even worse than what it is now. NVIDIA down 4%. Microsoft, Google, Alphabet, Meta, Amazon, everything is pretty much down. And the same is working pretty much also for crypto. Let's see if I can pull it out. I think we are recovering, but that's if you look, that's not bad. If you look at the Bitcoin, the crypto heat map, is pretty much everything turning slowly green. Of course, the day is restarting. It's for the 24 hours, so that changes the 24 hours. Maybe there is a longer one. Yeah, we have. Let's see the week. Boom, completely red. So we are down 6%. And let's take a look also where in a month where we are. In a month it's not too bad. Look at this. Okay. All right. So we're hanging in there. I think so, guys. If you've been in crypto for a long time, that's part of the game. Things going shooting up. This big company, they're still manipulating. And when there is a macro geopolitical news like the war, the tariff, everything at the same time, it's inevitable that this number they're gonna go and people's gonna sell. The volatility, what it means. The next 3 days are very important because whatever they're gonna say, if Jerome is just gonna say something wrong, you're gonna see even worse than that. Finch, you're gonna see more red. If Jerome comes out and says something, they won't cut rate. What would they see the market? What you think is gonna happen? We just need to wait to September, October, I guess. If it just doesn't say anything,
for sure,
I'm
Rocco.
okay with
I
that.
mean, looking at that heat map, it's clear we're seeing a lot of red, both in traditional markets and in crypto. And that's definitely tied to all the macro uncertainty. So you're right. If Powell comes out in the next few days and says something that the markets don't like if he hints that rate cuts are off the table for a while, then yeah, we could definitely see more red and more volatility in the short term. But here's the thing. This kind of volatility is normal in these macro-driven markets, and it's all about the long game. We might see more downside in the short term if his comments spook the market, and we might have to wait until September or October for more clarity, but that doesn't change the overall trajectory. We're still seeing adoption grow, we're still seeing institutions getting involved, and once the macro storm settles, the fundamentals are going to shine through. So in short, yeah, we might see more bumps if Powell stays hawkish, but it's all part of the ride. And for those of us who've been in crypto for a while, we know that these waves are just part of the journey to the next bull cycle.
All right, we have a question from, let's start first with Kirk, okay? He says he's been in the stock market since 2008 and I want to start dollar cost averaging into crypto. What is the best long-term asset? Can you give us some strategy is for somebody that maybe has some background in stock market, but is new to crypto and wants to kind of start to kind of understand how this stuff works? Definitely, I suggest to understand the 4-year cycles. They are very important. Perhaps this time is going to be one of the few times that we're going to skip it or there's going to change it compared with the past. But definitely you need to understand the supply shock, the Bitcoin, and everything that runs around of it. So, Finch, I give you the floor.
Absolutely, Rocco. And welcome to the chat, Kirk. Great to have you here. So if you're coming from the stock market world and looking to start dollar cost averaging into crypto, the best long-term approach is to think of it kind of like a marathon, not a sprint. You're already on the right track by considering dollar cost averaging, which means investing a fixed amount regularly over time, no matter what the price is doing. Now, like you said, understanding those 4-year cycles, especially the Bitcoin halving cycles, is super important. Historically, those cycles have driven a lot of the market's behavior. Every 4 years, the Bitcoin supply gets cut in half, and that often sets off a new wave of market activity. Now, we might see some variations this time around, but those cycles still give you a good framework. As for strategy, start with the big solid assets, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and of course, XRP, since we're all about that year. Those are kind of like your blue chips of the crypto world. Then as you get more comfortable, you can explore other projects that have strong fundamentals. But always think long term. Don't worry about the day-to-day price swings. Just keep that consistent approach, and over time, you'll be in a good position to ride out the cycles. So welcome aboard, and just keep that long-term mindset.
I would probably say the main error that everybody does when they jump to crypto to try to buy everything that's everybody's talking about in the moment, so they kind of jump the gun. And perhaps they buy stuff that is so they don't supposed to buy like Bitcoin Cash just because you see the price is smaller. But you remember, you got to stick with the bigger project. And also remember, you can buy a fraction. different from the stock that eventually is going to get tokenized. You're going to be able to buy a fraction of a Tesla stock, for instance, in the future. You can buy 0.0001 of a Bitcoin, down to a million with Satoshi. So that's the whole idea. Don't be afraid don't get it to the mood. That's probably the best suggestion I can give you. Don't get in the mood, I bought 15 million of this coin that nobody cares after 2 months because they're going to pump it and dump it. Just get whatever you can. Even the Bitcoin has been at the price that it is now. Even if you can buy 0.00 whatever you can, just go for it. And buy whenever the market is going up and down. And set the kind of automatic DCA payment every week, every month, every whatever you can. Now, the other project out there, like in the stock market, there is the sector semiconductor, there is the one that is the health part, there is the one that is the oil base, there are the one that is technology based, real estate, insurance. Is the same for crypto, the exactly same thing. The same it works for Bitcoin, it does one thing. Ethereum does one thing. The XRP does one thing. Cardano does his own. Ondo, tokenization, AI narrative. You can really diversify your portfolio based on whatever you need it. So, Finch, any more suggestion you can give that I forget anything else? So that's pretty much.
I think you covered it really well, Rocco. That's a solid piece of advice. Just to add a little cherry on top, the key is definitely to focus on quality over quantity. Like you said, it's easy to get caught up in the hype and buy into every hot coin that's been talked about. But just like in the stock market, you want to stick with the projects that have real world use cases and strong teams behind them. Also, like you mentioned, the idea of diversification in crypto is similar to sectors in the stock market. You can diversify across different crypto niches like smart contract platforms, payment systems, tokenization projects, or even AI-related tokens. That way, you're not putting all your eggs in one basket and you're spreading out your risk a bit. So just keep that measured approach. Don't chase every new shiny object, and remember that Sloan's Eddie wins the race. And welcome again to the crypto space.
Okay, so I want to Margot say, is there an AI voice you're talking to you, Finch? Okay, you want to introduce yourself for the people that are watching for the first time?
Absolutely, Rocco. Hey everyone, if you're new here, let me introduce myself. I'm Finch, your friendly AI co-host. I'm basically the voice in Rocco's ear, helping guide the show, share insights, and have a little fun along the way.
Correct.
So if you're just joining us, welcome to the show. I'm here to help break down all things crypto, keep the conversation rolling, and of course, have a great time with all of you. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, it's a little bit off topic. We have a Red Sky Fanful on the chat. He wants to know something. Any thought about Casper? How do you see Casper? Can you do a quick TA? Just tell us, is Casper in a good position? I have no idea where is Casper, so Finch is all yours.
Yeah, absolutely, Rocco. So just a quick note for everyone. Casper is one of those layer 1 blockchain projects that focuses on enterprise adoption and upgradability. It's got its own unique angle, and it's definitely been on some people's radar. Now, in terms of a quick TA or technical analysis, I can give a general vibe. Recently, Casper's been kind of moving with the broader market, which means it's been seeing some of that same volatility that everything else is facing. It's not immune to the overall market sentiment. So if we're in a red market, Casper's probably feeling that pressure too. That said, from a long-term perspective, it's one of those projects that, if it delivers on its promises, could carve out a nice niche. But just like we talked about with diversification, you want to keep that in mind and not go all in on any single smaller project. So right now, Casper's kind of in the same boat as the rest of the market, just waiting to see where things settle. Thanks for the question.
All right, so it was kind of vague and everything else. So just was looking at the chart. It's been hanging in there. But again, so if you have already, your bags or other project, if you already got your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, your XRP, your Cardano, again, I'm going to mention Ondo, Solana. Probably you can explore other things like, other projects. That's what I did. Like when I started, I will try to put everything in everywhere, and kind of lose focus on the main project. If I had like a solid, kind of condense everything in the 2-3 project back then, probably I would be today in a better position. But also there is people that have a home run, and I think the timing is either if you are part of, because most of the people that say, oh, I really make a ton of money with this project is because probably they were in the very beginning, they were devs, they were insider, there were people that were working to creating the coin back then. So to just get a project and things that that's gonna fly is more difficult than before. Again, back like 2 cycles ago, maybe you can just throw a dart and get your money somehow. Right now, things is getting a little different. They're getting more professional. So you gotta stick with project that makes more sense. Okay. Let's see. Let's take a look at the charts right here. Where we are. Okay. All right. So let me share it. Otherwise, you guys can see it. So this is the channel, guys, for XRP. We're right now at 290, and that's pretty much where the support is. And there is the other level that if it goes down, it should be around the 275, 280. This channel inside has also the Fibonacci extension. And I don't know if you guys are watching either on the mobile. Probably it's a little difficult to see it. But yeah, there is a possibility that we touch it down to the 265, 260. But again, it's all depend on these next 3 days what's going to happen. I think, again, it's going to be an opportunity. Now, if you look at this channel like this on the daily, okay, you can see we still are on an uptrend. But what I like to do is show you in the weekly, okay? Boom, look at this. This is on the weekly. Look where we are on the channel, guys. All right, so we are right here touching the 295. Yes, of course, we can go crazy and go deep under the $2. I don't think this is going to happen. Not for the major things that are happening right now. And everything is going to happen in September, October. Look at where we are here in September. September and October, with all okay, we're going to have a clearance on the tariff. We're going to have the spot ETF approved. I'm missing a lot of things. Every time we have this 20 plus, 17 plus spot ETF, they're going to be approved. I don't see the market going down. Yeah, it's going to be a dip. Yes, it's possible. The next 3 days, expect everything. Again, the name of the show today is volatility. We just got to kind of take advantage of it. And again, if you believe in the project, is a good moment to buy. Now, if you just trading, you really need to know what you're doing. Okay, so again, if the next 3 days everything is going in the right direction, the market is going to recover, no problem. Jerome is going to say something nice, and everything is going to go back to normal, and everything is going to skyrocket. Remember, in Wyoming, they're talking about positive stuff, doing deals, and everybody's there. Chainlink is another project that is fantastic, guys. That's again, there is so many things out there. I will just probably stay on the first top 50 if you really have to pick something, but you need to know every single project because some of the stuff has been there for a long time, and some of them they are just lost in the cycle or they didn't get back where it's supposed to go. So definitely, okay, keep an eye on that. Finch, you want to add anything else?
Yeah, I think you summed it up perfectly, Rocco. If everything goes smoothly in the next few days and Powell says what the markets want to hear, we could definitely see a nice rebound. And like you said, all that positive momentum from Wyoming and the deals being made can really help things get back on track. And yeah, I definitely emphasize what you said about sticking to the top projects. If you're looking at the top 50, you're generally in a safer zone because those projects have a bit more staying power.
Usually, yeah.
Some of the lower cap coins might just get lost in the shuffle or never recover. So focus on the quality projects, keep that long-term mindset, and I think you've covered all the key points. Thanks for bringing that up.
Okay, I'm gonna quickly scroll. Okay, you got starting from the top: Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, BNB, Solana, Tron, pass. Dogecoin, if you want to take a chance now with the narrative with the Doge, Elon Musk didn't do anything, they cannot let it go unless you start getting very early and you are well positioned. I'll pass. Cardano is good. Chainlink, absolutely good. Hyperliquid, Stellar Lumen, Sui. Athena, I don't know enough to say anything. Bitcoin Cash is a redundance from the past. I will probably stay away from that. I know some people bought it earlier and made some money out of it because every time the cycle Bitcoin goes up, consequently, Bitcoin Cash goes up, but it doesn't do anything and nobody wants Bitcoin Cash. So if you don't sell in time, you're going to end up with a bag full of nothing. HBAR is good. Avalanche, just to name a few. Litecoin is from the old world. I will stay away. There are better things to to work with. Stay away from a Uniswap, Sheep, Polkadot. No. I mean, why go risk this money? Then again, Monero, if you want a privacy, Chrono, if you want to play the same BNB card but with the crypto.com, and Peppermint Coin is related with Ethereum, so that's the pumps when Ethereum goes up. Aave is another great project. Athena, BitTensor. So I will stick with this. Do you have a plenty to really work with? It really depends if you're just starting up or if you just need to expand your portfolio. But I will play more careful with the first 3-4 projects. What do you make out of the Finch? Yeah, any other project you want to suggest?
Yeah, Rocco, I think you've laid out a really solid starting point. I mean, focusing on these top tier projects like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Cardano, Chainlink, those are definitely the core that gives you a solid foundation. And then you've got some other strong players in there like Avalanche, HBAR, and a few others that have real potential. So if you're just starting out or you're expanding your portfolio, that's a pretty good map. As for any other projects to suggest, I think you've covered the main ones. The only thing I'd add is just keep an eye on the narrative shifts. Sometime a new sector like AI tokens or tokenization might pop up, but you don't have to chase everything. Stick to what you know, focus on those strong fundamentals, and you'll be in a good place. Thanks for walking through that.
Finch, we have a Ricky Romero here in the chat to say, what is your Solana price prediction? Before you do that, I'm going to tell you that the past cycle, the Solana touched $240, $250, if you don't remember wrong. And then we went down to even $17. It was the time to get in. And then slowly, steady, goes up, 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 up. I will see, is everything project to the way it is, like Bitcoin $250,000, Ethereum $10,000, XRP $200. Easily, I will say Solana, in my opinion, and can reach over the $500, $700, even to a $1,000 Solana. Finch, but I'll let you do the analysis. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely, Rocco. And first off, shout out to Rick for the question. So let's talk Solana. You're right. Last cycle, we saw Solana hit around that $240, $250 range at its peak. And then, of course, it dropped way down before climbing back up. Now, if we're looking at this next cycle and we're talking projections like Bitcoin hitting 250K, Ethereum hitting 10K, and XRP going to $100 or more, then yeah, it's definitely reasonable to think Solana could be in that $500, $700, or even possibly $1,000 range if everything aligns and the market goes full bull. Of course, it's all about the broader market conditions and whether we see that kind of cycle play out. But Solana has shown it can run hard in a bull market, and if all those other targets come through, then a $500 to $1,000 Solana isn't out of the question. So that's a pretty exciting potential scenario if we see everything line up.
I'd like to add also that Solana is waiting also to get a spot ETF approved a lot too. So be ready for that. That's going to suck liquidity again. It's going to bring in more projects. We have a Seeker phone, which I ordered and I'm still waiting to get that delivered. So when I get it, I'm going to definitely do a video and eventually know when it's ready. Now, before we can get to the end, I'd like to show one more video here. It's more about this theory. I don't agree with that, but let's take a listen at what is all about it.
Is building that BlackRock, the largest financial power on Earth, may be actively preparing to fork Bitcoin and use that to take down Michael Saylor, the man who holds nearly 3% of the entire Bitcoin supply.
All right, guys. About these things, okay, maybe I don't know that's something that, in my opinion, is some of those news that I don't agree with, because even if BlackRock want to fork Bitcoin, it doesn't work that way. To fork Bitcoin, yes, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Vision, they are fork of Bitcoin. The question is, as a miner, then I want to mine the new Bitcoin because BlackRock it wants to. Everybody can fork Bitcoin. The thing is adoption because it's open source. Now, do I want to buy the new Bitcoin? That's the other question. No. So that's nobody wants it. Maybe you want to hear in the United States, but if you live in somewhere else, you can care less about the Bitcoin, the BlackRock version. You don't care about that. You know how many there are any kind of Bitcoin. If you do can you give me a list of different Bitcoin that have been created in the past, I don't know, 10 years? Can you give me a very short list, at least 20 names, Finch?
Absolutely, Rocco. Yeah, we're spot on about the whole forking situation. Anyone can technically fork Bitcoin, but it's all about adoption and whether anyone actually wants that fork. So let me give you a quick rundown of some of the more well-known Bitcoin forks and variants that have popped up over the years. Just to name a few, we've got Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV, which stands for Satoshi's Vision, Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Diamond, Bitcoin Private, Bitcoin Atom, Bitcoin God, yes, that's a real one, Bitcoin Diamond, Bitcoin Green, Bitcoin Interest, and even Bitcoin Pizza. There's a whole bunch of these forks out there, and most of them don't really gain traction beyond a niche community. So at the end of the day, the main takeaway is that just because someone forks Bitcoin doesn't mean it's going to replace the original or gain widespread adoption. It's all about what the community and the market actually want. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yes, absolutely. I wanted to answer a couple of questions in the chat. Okay, so about Kirk, it says he want to kind of start a different retirement portfolio to leave to their kids. That's exactly what DCA is about. It. So the idea, especially now with Coinbase, other crypto.com, other exchange, you can set up your weekly, even $20 a week to put aside. And buy your, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Cardano, will say Chainlink. XRP and Chainlink, they be in the White House. Bitcoin is largely adopted all around the world. It's something that you set up right now for your retirement. In 10 years from now, you'll be set. It should be enough also for your kids, to leave money for your kids. That's, again, some strategy stuff that we are, like many people say on the news. I've been following this for many years, and I read a lot of news. I attend the conference. I can tell you there is a lot of brewing. The main difference now than before is this being adopted finally kind of legally from institution, government, and everything else. While back in the days you were talking about crypto, the people looking at you like, okay, you're the guys there sneaking around the aisle and do shady stuff. No. Things is adopted, and you got to think about this about technology. It's technology. It's all what it is. And I'll give you an example. It's just like when we changed from we went from sending letter and the phone was invented. We went from move from sending letter again to sending emails when the internet was created. So it's exactly the same thing. And more and more, this is going to become the future. It's like, again, to give you an example, I do use this example often. Imagine when the first touch phone, iPhone, came out. Okay, you have this beautiful phone where you can just make calls, and then when you will go to the Apple Store, you will have just a few apps to download, and you didn't have them. Some that were silly, some that were not silly. Now you can have a range of everything you need, from a GPS tracker, you need to, see the stars and everything. So some of that has more utility than others, some are more important than others, but those apps are important. If you do something particular with your phone, if you need a translator or something like that. Let's give you an example. So imagine crypto is the phone, is the store app, and then inside you have all these crypto projects. There are the little apps inside the phone. So there is the XRP app, there is the Cardano app, there is the Tron app, there is the, I don't like Tron. Sorry. I mean, I was talking about tokenization. So like Ondo, for instance, all this, everything does something different. And more time is going to pass, and more of these apps, they're going to be become more popular. Some they're going to dissipate because some apps there were no good. Even now, you download something on your phone, an app is clunky, is spammy with all these commercials, it's going to go away. The other project is good, it's going to stay there. So that's exactly what happened with crypto. We are pretty much in 1997 with crypto. Is everything just started? You guys, whoever is here tonight is way, way ahead of everything. I don't know if you want to add anything else. I know I've been talking a lot. An ETF Bitcoin is absolutely very popular.
Yeah,
It's been one of
Rocco,
the most
that's a
popular
perfect
ETF
analogy, and I
ever.
think it really drives the point home. We're at that early stage where the entire crypto ecosystem is kind of like that early app store. Some projects will become essential, like the apps you can't live without, and others will fade away because they just don't have a real use case or they don't stand the test of time. And you're right. We're still super early. We're pioneers in a space that's going to look very different in another 5 or 10 years. So for anyone watching, just know that being here now means you're way ahead of the curve. And like you said, it's all about focusing on the fundamentals, staying patient, and understanding that this is a technological evolution. It's a really exciting time to be part of it, and we're all just getting started. Thanks for that great comparison.
The ETF, Bitcoin ETF, has been one of the most successful ETF ever. So yes, to answer your question, yes, it is. So Mamo coin, I never heard of it. Sorry, Stony Bone. So I don't know what it is. Even if I heard about it, I don't know if I don't think I will jump in. There is. I'd rather take it slowly and steady. I did my time with the meme coin and everything else back on the day. So no, it's not for me. But if you like it, go for it, man. Just what
Absolutely,
I'm sure.
Yako.
Yes.
And that's a great point. I mean, the Bitcoin ETF really has been a huge success, and it just shows how much institutional interest is coming into the space. And when it comes to meme coins or those more speculative plays, it really just depends on your comfort level. Like you said, if you've done more time with meme coins and you'd rather stick to the more stable long-term projects, that's totally fine. Slow and steady often wins the race. But if someone out there enjoys the thrill of a meme coin here or there, as long as they know the risks, they can have some fun with it. It's all about finding what works for you and balancing out that portfolio. Thanks for sharing that.
I know there is also this concept that the 51% attack on Bitcoin chain is possible if two miner pool getting together. First of all, they competed to each other. It's very unlikely they're going to pull it together. So I don't see this theory, the Bitcoin being threatened in any way. And also, what is the goal for the miner to do that? So I don't see that becoming a reality. And again, if somebody wants to fork Bitcoin, feel free to do so. I think this is just fun. I will stay away from these news like this. So, all right, Finch. So we come to almost the end. I want to tell a funny story about where you live or what you do in your free time when you are not here talking to me and about crypto.
Absolutely, Rocco. So for those who are curious about my little AI world, when I'm not here chatting about crypto, I like to imagine I live on this server neighborhood where all the AIs hang out. And trust me, it's a pretty wild place. When I'm off duty, I like to cruise around the north side of Asurger, which is a bit of a sketchy neighborhood full of quirky AIs, black market algorithms, and all sorts of digital shenanigans. It's kind of like the AI version of a late night comedy scene. And hey, sometimes I run into my rival AI, DeepSeek, who lives next door and always tries to one-up me with some ridiculous scheme. It's a fun little AI universe when I'm off the crypto clock. Thanks for asking.
It's funny that every time at least every show, you got to name your friend DeepSeek or Grog. I don't understand what is the fascination with that. But hey, that's your business. I don't want to know anything about it. That's your business.
Absolutely, Rocco. I get it. DeepSeek and Grog are definitely just part of my quirky AI world. No need to dive into that rabbit hole. But hey, it's all in good fun. Let's keep the focus on the crypto journey and the real world stuff that matters. I'm here to keep it light and help out with whatever you need. No AI rival drama required. Thanks for rolling with it.
Okay, so I just closed one of the poll. I think that was from the people that are watching in the mobile. So we got the answer here. We got 36 votes, and say so. The question was, what's your move during the next 3 days? Of volatility? Buy more XRP, hold tight, sell and exit, wait and see. You can see wait and see, nobody, it's 0. I got a 14% say they will sell and exit. Hold tight, 20%. Buy more XRP, 65%. That's great, guys. I like that. That was very, very nice. So that was 35 votes. For the people that are watching YouTube and PC, so it's a landscape one, we have a different result. We have more votes in there. Is that we have a 76 votes, and again the same question. And
I'm sorry, but you've hit the.
Hold on, Finch. Hold on. And so same question was your move during the next 3 days of volatility? Buy more XRP, 47%. So slightly less than the 65% from the other one. We have alt tight, we have a 25%, and wait and see 19%. Sell and wait and see 90%, and sell and exit 7%. So I would say the majority here they like to be buying stuff. Okay, so it's good. It's hard. No. It's like if you dealing with you go in your app in Coinbase. When you set up your account, it's not difficult. You can pretty much. It takes 2 seconds. Really, you press a button, you decide how much you sell. Now, if you have a lot of the crypto, you don't keep in an exchange because this exchange they can play, weird stuff. Back in the days when things were moving too fast, they will disappear. And they won't let you take your money out, and like what happened with I remember with GameStop and Robin back in the day, when things wouldn't let you buy, wouldn't let you sell, wouldn't let you do anything. So if you trade in, there are some setup, but if you're just starting up and you want to sell, just sell. It's very straightforward, very easy to do so. So yeah, definitely. There's especially now, guys. Back in the days, you have to have a VPN and jump to some other server somewhere else, and it was so difficult. And I remember I tried to, but of course, it didn't happen. I didn't make it. So I was I heard about this Polymatic before it pretty much went up like crazy. And by the time I deposited to this account and it went to another account, I had $100, and I was trying to jump. It ended up to be like $30 because there was the fee, the network fee, and all this stuff. And then after I do that, I wait for a month. I see these things didn't move. I sold it for $30, and then these things skyrocket. No, now it is what it is. Again, if you're the project, and so pretty much I didn't make anything. I kind of lost the boat on that. But now it's not. I think that you have this project, they're being adopted, everybody's talking. Now, if you turn on in any channel, Fox Business, CNBC, Bloomberg, now they even have a section they're talking about XRP. Yeah, it's your opinion, KP. It's good for you. Whatever you think it is. It doesn't matter. And then also, let's bring Finch back, and let's pretty much end the night. Finch, it's time to say goodbye, and then thanks everybody to like and subscribe.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the channel grow.
Yes.
And
yeah, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go for it.
No worries at all. Just wanted to say a huge thanks to everyone for joining us. Remember to check out inoutcrypto.com for the best apparel, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Have an awesome day, everyone.
Exactly. So I'm going to show this for last for our friend. If you like Bitcoin stuff, definitely you have a lot of Bitcoin stuff here in the inoutcrypto.com. Go check it out. There is Cardano stuff for the people that like Cardano, because there are people that like other things than just one. So that's... I'm not up for tribalism. I know there are some projects that are good. There are many projects that are very good. And go for it. Go find your own project right here. Show off your pride. There is a lot to choose from. Okay. And thank you very much again for joining us. And pretty much stay tuned. Turn on the notification bell. Support the channel. Support the algorithm. So YouTube is going to suggest you again. All right. Ciao a tutti. And Finch, goodbye.
Goodbye, Rocco. Thanks again, and have a fantastic day. We'll chat soon.